Today we're hanging out at Meridian Ranch and we are on the northeast side of Colorado Springs. We're going to be talking about Falcon, Peyton. We're just going to group them together because a common misconception is that you know the history more because you used to live here.
Oh, I mean, yes, I did live in Peyton, here in Meridian Ranch, actually. And the people tend to group Falcon and Peyton together because or they think that they're one and the same, but they're not. They're actually two different
Communities.
communities here out east, like she said, out east Colorado Springs. I think Peyton is more. So the main road that goes through Falcon Peyton is Highway 24. If I'm not mistaken, which I could be. I think Peyton is more
East, the further east.
east and north, and then Falcon is a little more west and south of Woodman. But they're both, like I said, they both people tend to group them together. Like when I was a kid, we would always say, "Oh, we're going to Falcon," if we were going out this way. Never Peyton. And then one day, all of a sudden,
Mhm.
Peyton showed up,
Yeah.
and I don't really know when or
Yeah. Everybody
why,
started
but
talking about Peyton. I was like, so School District 49, over
Falcon
on the
49,
east.
right? Is that
Yeah,
what they call
Falcon
it?
49. So I
Interesting.
don't know where
I don't know
Peyton
where
came
Peyton
from.
came from either.
Peyton is like further east, like you said, northeast. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a boundary
Yeah.
somewhere. But Falcon is going to be the one that's closer to like all your shopping, like all the stores and things like that. So like what grocery store is that?
Well,
There's a Walmart.
there's a Walmart and there's a Safeway, and I think that they're building a King Soopers out here. So it is getting a lot bigger. I think one pro to living out here, especially if you already own a home out here, the city is expanding this way.
Yeah,
So
more and more.
it used to feel like a day trip to come all the way out here and that we were driving into the middle of nowhere. And now 15 minutes from Colorado Springs, 10, 15 minutes you'd say, and we are now in a whole, like, I feel like it's its own little place. They have all the restaurants, they have, like we said, the 3 grocery stores,
We went to the omelet. Is it omelet, etc.?
omelets, etc. It is pretty
It
good.
was pretty good. I had
Yeah.
we split the
We split the breakfast burrito.
Mhm. We did. And it was really good. So, pretty good restaurants. You've got Jack's out here. So it's starting to grow. It kinda reminds me of what Springs used to be before everybody moved out here, because it was just, like, quieter. I like the way that the houses are built out here. There's way more space. So you get, I would think, a lot more, maybe not a lot more, but you get more acreage on your lot.
Yeah. Well, Meridian Ranch, I think, does have a little bit more space on some of the lots, but then you have the newer homes that are going to be by that King Supers, and they're really tight together. I think it's starting to become kind of like how Colorado Springs is, where they're just trying to pack homes in
Yeah.
because a lot of people are moving here. So, for example, whenever I lived out here, there was no restaurants, barely. I mean, you had Wendy's, McDonald's, there's a Mexican restaurant over there by Safeway, and I mean, really nothing to do. I still kind of feel like there's not a lot to do, like, there's not very much shopping. They have Walmart, Dollar Tree.
There's definitely no, like,
Yeah,
entertainment places.
yeah, and
No, is
then
there a movie theater over here at all?
no, there's nothing like
Yeah.
that, and there's not even really big restaurants either. I mean, I think eventually there might be things coming out this way, but, there's not a ton of
No.
things. So, um
But you do, so the pro side of that is that you do get, well, it's quieter. You can find more affordable properties out here. So, like, these houses over here, I
a
need to
Meridian
pull up.
Ranch Golf Course.
Yeah.
Or Antler, yeah, Meridian Ranch Golf Course, or Antler Creek Golf Course, one of those. Yeah, I mean, I think that the house you do get more house than you do in the Springs, but I think it's kinda catching up a little bit. It's
Yeah.
not as because it used to be that you could buy a house way cheaper out here, but as the Colorado Springs has grown and people were moving out here for affordability
Yeah.
and just for the sake of because there wasn't any houses in the Springs, it's starting to get a lot more expensive, and a lot more people here.
Yeah.
So as you can hear the traffic, I mean, it isn't as quiet as it used to be. It is getting pretty busy. And I think that it's frustrating because
Go anywhere. Yeah.
you can't go anywhere. There's not the roads. I mean, there's only really
Mhm.
like
If
one
Woodland
main
has construction,
or the
you're screwed.
snowstorm, like
Mhm.
ice, wind, snow, blizzard, anything. I mean, you're done. Like you can't get home, you can't get out
Yep.
because Woodman is the main road. There's and it's I think they've expanded it a little bit, but it's just I mean, it's a two, you know, it's only a two-way highway.
Yeah.
So the traffic gets kinda bad, especially during the weather. You do have 24 Highway 24 though, that's pretty quick to get
Yeah.
downtown
To
to
get to Mark Shuffle.
the military bases. So
Yeah, so it's
that is kinda
basically
nice.
Powers, Mark Shuffle, and then
You can
how
go through Black Forest.
yeah, basically there's not a whole lot of different way and that was part of the whole, Black Forest thing where they were saying, "If there's a fire, the evacuation, no one's gonna be able to get out." Like,
No, it's
there's
true
only
because
one road.
everybody's gonna be camped out on Woodman trying to get out, and you can't. So, like I said, when I lived out here, it was really frustrating on snowy days because try to go down Woodman and you're just stuck there
Yeah.
because it gets so icy and then wind. I mean, the weather out here is more extreme than what it is in the Springs. It's further out in the plains,
Not as
so
many trees.
not as many trees. Definitely not the foresty vibe, I guess, but it's, more windy.
Yeah, so, like, in the wintertime, if it is snowing a lot and, this has happened before, it doesn't happen all the time where there's, like, a 5-foot drift and you can't even leave your house. So but then in the springs, it's perfectly fine,
Mhm.
or there'll be just a little bit of snow. So the wind just pushes the snow right up against your house because there's no trees blocking the wind. So you're kinda just out here. So that's my thing. I just don't like how windy it is out here.
I mean, I don't like the wind ever.
Yeah.
We've talked about this, but it is a whole nother ball game out here. I think the weather is just more extreme is what I'll
Mhm.
say, I think. I do think some of these homes though, um, they have really good views of the whole entire mountain, so the mountain range. So you could see way more of the range out here, and the sky is really pretty. So like
Yeah.
sunsets and sunrises and stuff out
Mhm.
here are really nice. There's a lot more people who have like farmland or ranch style houses. Like they can
Acreage.
have acreage, so they could have horses and um, you know, I always wanted a farm with little animals, but it seems like a
Me
lot of work.
too. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I just want a couple horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people who have animals, but the funny thing is, like, you have to check your wells, and make sure that the property that you're buying, you're able to have those animals because there's restrictions, zoning laws. There's so many. So if you're planning on buying a house out here because you want to park your RV or because you do have horses, you have to really study the HOA because it might be fine out here, but then when you hit like Meridian Ranch has an HOA where you can't park your RV out in the front. Even if you have a large patch of dirt, you're still not allowed to, unless you do all these, have to jump through the hoops.
Yeah.
You can't have an RV out front. Well, what's the point then of moving? You know what I mean? Like a lot
Well,
of people
yeah,
in Colorado
because
have
well,
RVs.
Meridian Ranch is the master built community, right? So they have the HOA, they have the golf
Mhm.
course, they have a community center. I think it's run by the YMCA, if it
It
used to be
was,
at least. So they have all of those amenity type things to where, yeah, you do have the restrictions and rules. Whereas if you were going to buy further out where you're having land, because in Meridian Ranch, you wouldn't have too much acreage, you wouldn't have
no.
property really, it's just
But
in the
you
neighborhood.
would think that you could park your RV if you have room to park it over here.
Yeah,
But
too
you
bad you
can't. You
can't.
can't assume that. But Paintbrush Hills is, like, on the other side of, what street is this right here?
What street is this?
Yeah, this is one that comes from
Meridian.
Londonderry.
Meridian.
Londonderry.
Londonderry.
Uh, so, thank you, I was drawing a blank. On the west side of Meridian is where Paintbrush Hills is, and that's where people have, like, these oversized RV garages, and they're
Mhm.
so pretty cool. Um, and you can park your RV over there. So it really just depends on what part of the area.
Well, yeah, and even if you go south on Meridian, um, that enters into more of the properties that you can find more acreage, more land. but then there's more manufactured homes. So
Yeah.
you do have a lot of property, but then they're manufactured over there. There's Woodman Hills. They have bigger homes, single family homes, and then they have large lots, very large lots. And then right next to that is Meridian Ranch, where they're the single family homes, but they're a little closer together. They're both in an HOA, but I think that Meridian Ranch has it's a little denser. And then they have the golf course and they have all the family with the amenities. Actually, Woodman Hills might have golf too. Do they? Mm.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are putting golf um, holes on in these new community.
People love to golf.
Isn't that funny? Like that's like the thing. We're gonna either put a dog park in here.
Oh, there's a
Or
golf. There's
this
a
is
golf
how we're gonna
court right here,
differentiate ourselves: a dog park or a golf course,
or both.
or
Is
both.
there dog parks out here? Yeah. Well, and then just if you go a little bit further north, then you have Black Forest, which borders out here also.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's not as much to do out here, and it's just cold and windy and boring.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does have more of like I wouldn't say desert, but because I'm so used to all the trees and being in town, it feels like a desert to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I didn't hate living out here. I really didn't like the whole traffic situation and
Yeah.
not being able to get in and out easily. And then just working in Colorado Springs,
Mhm.
it was just a hectic drive for me. But I
Yeah.
think the community is really nice.
Mhm.
I think that
Yeah, the rec center too.
the rec center. I think like as a whole, Peyton and Falcon, they are their own like little tight group
Mhm.
almost. So they have a lot of neighborhood pages, and there's a lot of pride for people that live out here. Um, so I do think like the people in the community and all that stuff was really great. I just couldn't do the traffic part.
Besides the traffic, it's just there's not a ton of people out. There's not a ton of like distractions. If you work from home and you like being at home, you probably love it out here.
Yeah, I think
You
that
don't
we're
have to
in the
leave.
busier part. If we go further east
Yeah.
and south, and it gets a little quieter, or even more towards the forest. But we did choose the very busy spot to do our video.
Yep.
Popular
did.
spot. Yeah, and then the school district out here is District 49.
Yeah.
And that it's a pretty big district. It covers a lot of this area. I know that they've really expanded in more recent years just because of all the growth out here. There wasn't enough room for all of the kids. I feel like that's a common trend in
Yeah.
Colorado. We just had way too many people come in at one time.
But we're super close to Schriever.
Yeah, so if you took 24, it hits Schriever, Highway 24. So it's a pretty easy drive.
Yeah.
Peterson,
How far do you think
Peterson
that
too,
is?
probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to get around the city, it's best to go 24 rather
Yeah.
than go down Woodman to try to go through the city.
I would never do that.
Yeah, the traffic's way too bad. It's easier
But
to go
there's not,
around.
like you said, so there's Woodman and then there's
24.
24.
And then you could go through Black Meridian through Black Forest. But Black
That's
Forest,
it.
yeah, that's really it. I don't like that.
And with, so many people living here, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, so I think that they have some things to work out eventually about the road system and the traffic, because there's more and more people moving out here, and it's just the traffic is getting busy. One thing that I do notice too, I feel like growing up, coming out here, like we were saying, it's a day trip. It seemed like a day trip, and it was more country.
It was.
So it was horses and farmland and just,
Alpacas. I love those little things.
yeah, so it was, and cows everywhere. So it's almost like the city and the country merging together, because
is.
like where we're at right now in Meridian Ranch, it's more of a city type feel, not as country. But traditionally, this area was country,
Yeah.
and it was,
technically.
the animals
I
and
would
stuff,
love
so-
to have like chickens and stuff because in the springs, there's just more. The HOAs are just like, no, you can't have chickens. But as you go out more east, people, they sell them on the laying the eggs on the
Yeah.
side of the road.
I think there was a lot of, I mean, there's places in town where you can have them, but here it's obviously, I think, a little bit more
Lax for
lax
that
on
state.
it, and I always thought that it would be cool to have property and then have
Mhm,
goats because then the goats
mhm.
just eat the grass, so you don't even have to worry about it. But man, I remember driving out here, and one time we had to pull over on the side of the road to fix something, and all of a sudden I just heard all this noise, and I'm
Was
like,
it
"What the heck?"
turkeys?
No, and we heard moo, and I turned the flashlight on, there was cows. Like, we were parked on the they were
Yeah.
behind the fence, but it was kinda scary.
Yeah, because what if they, like, started rocking their car
I
or
don't know, they were just curious of what we were doing, but we were like, "Oh boy, you should
you know what I
probably."
don't see out here? And obviously, because there's no woodsy areas, is, like, deer. So, west side, all the
An
deer
antelope.
there's a lot of antelope.
Antelope,
I'm
yeah,
gonna try and get some footage because I'm like I always see, like, a ton of them out, and I'm like, "Wait!"
yeah.
But
Antelope, turkeys.
Mhm.
There have been bears that randomly get lost out here, I've seen them.
That's so
I know,
crazy.
it is kinda
So
weird. I feel like
wild.
they how did they make it all the way out here, you know? Without being seen.
They run super fast.
Poor things,
I
they're
know.
probably scared. It was like, how did you get all the way to Peyton or Falcon?
Yeah. So if you wanna learn more about Black Forest, since we talked about that, that's gonna be the video popping up next on the screen. Have a whole playlist of all the different neighborhoods in Colorado Springs and surrounding areas, so you can check out that playlist as well. If you need help buying, or selling, if you're selling a property in, any of these areas in El Paso County, well, anywhere in Colorado, really. Feel free to reach out to Randy or myself. She is the lender, my preferred lender, and then our information will be below underneath this video, as well as a list of available homes for sale in Falcon, Peyton areas.
Thanks.